Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Prepping for Prosperity. I'm Steve Smith. I want to talk today about building your business. This will be kind of the part two of I don't know how many. But the second step of building a business, I've said before that in order to build true prosperity, you need to be in business for yourself. Or even if you work a job, even if you have some place that you stay with for the bennies and all that, you need to have, you need to be in control of the generation of your own wealth. So you need to have your own business, or better yet, businesses. I just put up a couple. For those of you who are on Patreon, you'll see this, or you may have already seen it. For those of you who aren't, hopefully you will see it. Patreon, we put a lot more stuff over there. And if you're serious about really building your prosperity, you want to be over there. The link is down below. I just put up a couple of things. One on Warren Buffett explaining why diversity and inclusion and committees are wastes of time. And then Moody's chief economist has just come out and said that that the economy, the world economies, are in such bad shape that they expect bad times to continue for another 12 to 18 months. And I would say at least that. And that's why it's important to take your finances in your own hands and develop them. Also, I was going to do one over there today on what the rich teach their children that the poor don't. But I got a great question from one of our patrons, and it has to do with doing business out of your home. And say she sells plants. And as far as advertising, as far as security and things like that, great question. So I'm gonna put that in today over there. That's another thing that Patreon lets you do. It lets you get a direct access to me, to where you can write these lengthy questions, and I will more likely than not come back and do an entire video on it. So if you're not with us, we'd love to have you over there. And like I said, the link is down below. Okay, now your business. Your business is your business, right? Okay, that's the first thing. Doing what other people have done, copying what other people have done, is not necessarily the wrong thing to do, but it's the wrong thing to do if you can't think of anything else that you want to do, right? So you're just saying, well, so-and-so did well at that, I think I'll do it. That is a recipe for failure. Okay. When I tell people, or they ask me, well, I'm not sure what kind of a business should I put together? My answer is always, what zooms you? What gets you going? What do you have a hard time not thinking about? What is the thing, your interest that you're developing that gets you out of bed in the morning? When I wake up, the first thing I do is I say my prayers before I get out of bed, or a prayer. It's my daily morning prayer, and it's very simple. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for this day and the blessings in it, because this day I know is going to be full of blessings. Secondly, guide me according to your will, and use me for your purpose. There you go. Okay, I just want to set that in motion, because I want God in charge of what I'm doing, because I found out too often in my life when I was in charge, I didn't do nearly as well as He does. Okay, so we've talked about that before. I'll probably talk about it again, because that is at the peak of importance. And then I'll start thinking. I'll just lay there for a few minutes and I'll start thinking about all the things, not that I have to do today. You've heard how people say, oh man, I've got so many things I have to do. I will lay there for a few minutes and think about all of the things I get to do today. All of the things I want to do today, including making this video. Okay. And I'll have, for instance, today I'll do six different videos. 2 on each of the 3 main channels. Okay. One for the general public, and one for Patreon, for the extra, the kind of the more specialized things that go in for those who really want to take it to the next level on each of the channels. And then I have 3 books that I'm working on. So I'm working on the main book, the seventh a book of the Stonemont series, and then I have 2 others that I'm not going to announce quite yet. So I think about that, and I'm excited. I can't wait to get out of bed. I woke up before 5 o'clock this morning. I tried to lay there for a while, couldn't, had to get up because I was so eager to get on this stuff. So find that thing. Find that thing, because that's what it takes to be successful in a business. You have to be thinking about it all the time, but you don't want to be thinking about something that you don't really like or you're not really into, right? And here's where attitude comes. I mean, attitude is not just important, it is so important. It is at the top of importance. You've heard the old thing, your altitude is determined by your attitude, right? And that's right. How high you go is determined on how you're thinking, how you're approaching it. And I drink coffee. I sip coffee through the day. So you want that thing. Now, in order, does it have to be something that you know everything about? No, not necessarily. I've started a lot of businesses that I knew nothing about. One that I was in for years, I fell into by mistake. And I was there just to kind of give support for the person who was trying to start the business. They fell out, but by then I had learned enough about it. I said, wow, I really love this stuff. This is, I'm going to do this. And so after the person who I just joined to help them build their business, after they, fell by the wayside, but by their own choice, they had personal problems. I was so into it, I said, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Pretty much every one of the businesses that I've ever had was something that I just felt driven into. And once you're driven into it, then you're drawn into it. So it has to be something that you really love. If you can't find anything, if you're not thinking about anything right now, if you are, think about that. Concentrate on it. Say, is this, am I feeling what Steve is describing here? Now, if you're not, don't force yourself into it. Okay? Don't force yourself. Wait for what's right. And then, and it'll come. Pray on it. It will come. Sometimes the hardest part of business, just like the hardest part of life, is being patient, waiting for the right thing to come. Until then, keep saving, keep working, keep stocking that extra away, right? I mean, you're working already. Hopefully you've got a job, or you got 2 jobs or whatever. Save, 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 because when the opportunity comes, you're going to want some of that money to start your business with. You can't start a business. Well, I've started businesses pretty much out of thin air, but you usually need some money to do it. The old, it takes money to make money. There's truth in that. There's truth in that. Now, the next thing is look into, first off, believe, be honest with yourself. Can you do it? Do you think you can do it? Well, yeah, I can do it. And then be willing to go after it. Now, I'm going to slide something else in here kind of on it. First off, find out what it takes to start this business in your area, your jurisdiction, your legal jurisdiction. And by that, I mean licenses, permits, certifications, whatever like that. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Now, this lady who is selling things out of her home that I'm going to be answering her question over on Patreon probably doesn't apply there. But I'll give you a couple of instances. There have been 2 people who I have tried to get them to start handyman businesses. 2. They both knew a lot about what they were doing. They both could have made bundles of money on it. How do I know? Because I know a lot of people who need work done on their houses. You may know that one of my businesses is during the Christmas season, we install Christmas lights. We're up on people's roofs all the time and up and seeing parts of their house they never see. And I like to take care of my customers. So if I'm up there and I see some wood rot at the top of a window way up that nobody's seen the top of that window for 10 years, right? I'll take a picture of it and I'll go back and I'll tell them, hey, you've got this going on, you need to get that fixed. I don't do it. If you don't have your own person, I know a guy that he's honest and he'll do good work and he'll get over. I have sent so much business to that guy. I mean, so much business. But a couple of other guys just didn't do it. They needed the money, but they wouldn't do it. And when I would follow up, they would say like, well, I don't know if I need, permits to do that. I don't need, and I said, well, have you checked? Well, no. Or I don't know if I need a license to do that. Well, have you checked? No. You'd be surprised what you don't need a license for. In the city where I live, which is a very affluent, very, you would think that they would need a permit for everything. You don't even need a business license. You should be surprised. Now, there are some jurisdictions you need a whole bunch of stuff. That's a headache. So you just have to figure out kind of how to work that, But you would be surprised how many things people let hold them back that aren't even an issue, but they don't know that they're not an issue because they haven't even checked on it. Check on it. Get out there. Put yourself out there. Do your homework. And then put yourself out there and take a chance. More businesses fail because they never get started than fail after they have. Because they failed in the person's mind. The business didn't fail, the person failed. They failed themselves. They couldn't make themselves get out there and put themselves out to where the world would put a judgment on what they sell. On them, on their product, on their service, whatever. These are really the wage slaves. The people like to use that term wage slave. Well, I heard somebody say, who was it? It was about real slavery. And it was a black guy, I say that because it means something, who made so many, was it, what's his name? P. Diddy or Z or whatever. What's his name now? He used to be married to Kardashian. You can see how much I keep up on this stuff, right? I think it was him who made the statement. He said slavery was a choice. And man, did he catch it for that. I understand. He said, well, slavery, you could have run, you could have killed people, you could have, whatever, but you chose to remain a slave. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm going to say this. Wage slavery is a choice. If you don't get out and do something, you are choosing to remain a slave. All around the world, all around your world, are opportunities just falling out of the sky. I tell people in America, if you live in America, now if you live someplace else, it might be tougher. I don't know. In Canada, Great Britain, Australia, Europe, I know that Great Britain is in Europe. It might be tougher, but I'll tell you, in America, you have to try to fail. You really do. America wants you to succeed and succeed big. And all it takes for you to fail is for you to be determined to fail. Okay. And most people will do that by simply not trying, by playing it safe. Okay. This is one of the things that I'll be talking about tomorrow. What rich people teach their kids that poor people don't teach their kids, or even working class people don't teach their kids. So when you find that thing, now look into it. Understand everything that it's going to take in your jurisdiction, your legal jurisdiction, as we as a matter of fact, we thought years ago, Kelly and I considered putting in a custard shop. We loved custard. We thought, what a great way. Everybody that comes to you for business is going to be happy. What a great thing to do. We'd employ that. We'd have jobs for the kids. We didn't even have kids when this came about. And so we thought that'd be great custard. So we went out and we bought a big custard machine. You know how much those things cost? They cost a bunch. We hadn't looked into it. We knew that other people had been successful, so we figured that we could be. So then we started, and we were busy doing other things. I mean, we were so busy. And so we started looking around for locations. And we started looking, we got with the suppliers and we learned all about it, and we found a location that we really liked. And all of a sudden we went out to talk to the city to get the occupational license. They said, well, you need a grease something or other. We said, why? Well, are you going to be manufacturing the custard on site? And we kind of misunderstood what they said. Because probably, looking back on it, we wouldn't have needed this. But they said, well, you need to install, which means bust up the concrete in this place that we wanted, have them come in and put all sorts of grease traps, and I don't even know what it is. The cost of that was massive. So here we are sitting with a custard machine in our garage. And we said, well, I'm not willing to put that extra money into that. I'm not going to do it right now. We're going to look around. As it turned out, we ended up putting in something that Kelly had always wanted to put in. That was a tanning salon, and we had that for several years until the 2008 crash. We did all right. We sold it just in time, but it was a great business for a while. And we ended up with that custard machine just sitting out in our garage for, I don't know, 8 or 10 years, probably. Ended up selling it for what we had paid for it. So it wasn't a loss, it was a lesson. Okay. And we did very well in the tanning, at the tanning salon, because Kelly knew a lot about that. I knew squat, but she knew a lot about that. So you look at those things that it's going to take, check all those things, do your due diligence as it says. And most of the people aren't going to go in to say, I want a custard shop, or I want this, or I want that. I am a big believer in starting very small, so that you have total control over everything that you're doing. Take small bites and chew well. Learn everything you can out of every small step that you take. When I started the Christmas light business, which has become very lucrative, I didn't know anything about putting up Christmas lights. I'd put some on my house. I got the lights from Home Depot. A couple of my neighbors said, hey, would you do lights on our house? I said, nah, I guess, It was horrible. The first year, I knew nothing about it. I didn't know where to get the clips. I didn't have a supplier. That's a funny story. I found a supplier. I'll tell you that somewhere else. But I knew nothing. I was using lights that I bought at Home Depot, 25 feet at a time, and with fuses in them, and they were incandescents, and they were breaking all the time. But still, I got that first year. I got through that first year. I don't know why I ever wanted to do it again, but then I started getting smarter and started learning. Again, it wasn't a loss; it was a lesson. And even that first year, I made a nice profit. But the more that you know before you start it, the better. And the smaller you start, the better. Whether it's something like Kelly's soaps, whether it's something like her sublimation printing, her T-shirts and things like that. Start small. And then look where you can market. And the next one I'll talk about marketing. But there are so many ways you can go at it. And actually, that's something that I'm going to be talking about in the Patreon video today, because part of her question was about marketing. And that is so important. Have your idea, have something that zooms you, have something that makes you jump out of bed in the morning because you can't wait to get after it. And then do your due diligence. Find out exactly what's this going to take. What's it going to take as far as my financial outlay? The smaller the better, and you can get all sorts of things if you know. And I don't talk about this too much here, but my series of books, the Stonemont series, I always put the links down below for anybody who would like to buy them. They have become an unbelievable success. I started writing this on my phone. I still write on my phone. Just my phone. And it's not an expensive phone either. And from that came the Stonemont series, the reversion, the revival, the renewal, and appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, and finally the newest one, hostages to fortune. I started that entire career with nothing but the phone I already had, and I typed the book into my notes program. I'll talk about that another time. But this series is about a family who was able to survive the collapse of the world because they were financially able to prepare. Simple as that. And how you can get them from Amazon. The link's down below, either in paperback or Kindle, or you can get autographed copies from me, and the address and information on how to do that is down below as well. So get your idea, get something that you love, get something that you know about, get something that zooms you. Find out and be honest with yourself, what's it going to take to get started? The smaller the better. Small bites, chew thoroughly, and build and build and build. And the next thing we'll be talking about marketing. That may not be tomorrow. I'm not necessarily putting these like day after each other because I have a list of other things that I want to get in here. But think about that. Now I'm going to jump off and I'm going to do that one for Patreon. Again, I invite you. It's a great community over on the Patreon site. It only costs $5, and for you to be over there to have so that you can write me personally, and I can either write back with my answer, or I can make a video on it. Whatever it is, it's going to be a great investment for you, plus all the other stuff that I put over there, like Warren Buffett's thing today, and that information from Moody's Chief Investment Officer. So remember, your future and your prosperity is in your hands. Treat it well. Ask God for His guidance, and then you be willing to do the work, and you're going to do good. You're going to do very well, okay? You all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.